Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Vanessa.
Hi.
Hello. What's your name? Say
You
that
tell
again.
her your whole name? Briar Rose.
Briar Rose. Oh, that's a beautiful name. I love it. My name is Vandy. It's wonderful to meet you. Oh, hello. We have the whole gang here today. Love
Yes, we do.
it. Well, it's wonderful to meet you. So I know a little bit about you, Briar, from your mom, but I'd love to hear from you today too. So, could you share a little bit about yourself and maybe what you hope to accomplish in your lessons and what you maybe want to learn and focus on?
Um, I want to accomplish really great singing.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great goal. Beautiful. So tell me a little bit about maybe in the past, what are some things that inspired you or that got you excited about singing and music in general? What are maybe some things you've done in the past? Like, have you sung at school in music class or anything like that?
In music class, I do sing.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any favorite singers or favorite musicals or favorite songs?
Um, I have a favorite song that's called My Jesus.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. All right. Do you sing that at church?
No.
No, it's just a song that you know and you like. That's great. That's awesome. Are there any particular songs that you would like to learn to sing?
Do you know a song called Somewhere Over the Rainbow?
I do. I do know that one. That's great. Okay, beautiful. Do you really like Judy Garland, the original movie of Dorothy and Oz, The Wizard of Oz?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. It's a good one. It's a lot of fun. Do you have a favorite character?
Um, Mine is the dog.
The dog. Aw, Toto. Yeah, Toto's a great character. I love that. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Do you have maybe thinking ahead to the future, any goals for the future that you think you maybe want to audition for a musical or sing in a talent show at school? Do you have anything like that that's a goal that you have for the future?
Um, uh, yeah, I would like to sing.
Yeah, in the future, absolutely. And you never know what's going to happen. You could end up singing at church, you could sing at karaoke, you could sing for a talent show, you could sing for a musical, you could join a choir. So there's all kinds of things you can do with singing in the future. I love it. Wonderful. I'm curious, do you have any other people in your family or friends that do music,
Um,
that sing or play any other instruments?
uh, my cousin Natalie really likes to sing.
Oh, that's great. That's
And also my
awesome.
dad.
Yes, you have people in your family that love to sing, and then you can share that with them. Maybe you could learn to sing a duet. That'd be pretty fun in the future. Awesome. I love it. So, um, so what I usually do in our first session is I like to go over some of the basics of singing. So things like how our voice works and how to breathe well for singing. I like to go through a few different exercises so I can hear a little bit of you singing and kind of see what your strengths and weaknesses are, where you're at. And that gives me a little bit of an idea of coming in where you're at. And then I also, since you have a couple songs that you like and you would like to work on, I'd love to work a little bit on at least one of those today or hear a little bit of those today. Does that sound like a good plan? Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. So how old are you?
I'm 8.5.
8.5. I love it. That's a great age. I really enjoyed that age. I feel like my like 7, 8, 9 was a really fun window of time. I felt like I was old enough that I had a little bit more freedom, but I also felt like I still got to be a kid, so that was pretty great. It was a good time in my life. All right, well, that's a great age, I think, to start singing lessons. So, what I would love to do is, are you comfortable standing up? Usually singers stand rather than sit, but if you're more comfortable sitting, we can do that too. What do you think?
I like sitting.
You like sitting? Okay, so that is totally fine. You can sit, but would you try to sit with a nice tall posture for me? So, the reason that we try to have a good tall posture when we sing is for one thing, singers often are going to sing in front of people, right? And so we want to look nice and confident and like we're performing. But another reason is actually because it helps our voice. So, when we have a nice tall posture, it helps us to get the air through more effectively. It opens up our breathing passages better so that we can sing better. You can think of your air as kind of like gas in a car. Without the air, the voice isn't going to go anywhere. It's what fuels the voice. So we sit up nice and tall so that we can get our air through unhindered. It has nice open pathways. So we're going to try breathing a little bit because when we're singing, we think about singing in a little bit different way. We try to breathe a little bit lower into our torso, into our body. So sometimes you might see people do shallow breaths like and they'll breathe with these little shallow breaths where they're raising their shoulders. That can be great if you need really fast oxygen in and out really quickly. So, if you were sprinting, if you were maybe a ballet dancer who has to keep her core really tight for tight spins, right? That might be really helpful. But for singing, we want to breathe a little bit lower in the body because that helps us control the exhalation. So we're going to try breathing a little bit lower into your torso. So let's focus on your rib cage. So we're going to think about your rib cage. And when we breathe in, I want you to think about opening up that rib cage. And then as you breathe out, you can let that relax. And your ribs can gently just relax and come back down together. So as we breathe in, let's try to lift those ribs open. Ready? Breathe in. Oh, I see it. Good job. And then we blow that air back out and you can let those ribs relax. So now take your hands and put them on your belly. We're going to breathe in and out. And as we expand, as we breathe in, try to feel your belly fill with air and it's going to open a little bit. And then as we exhale, we're going to send that air in a nice focused breath up and out. So breathing in, feeling that expansion, and then focus that energy out. Awesome. Beautiful. Good job. So, that trunk of your body, that torso, we're going to think about as we breathe in, we're opening that up all the way around. And then we're going to send that energy in a nice focused stream of air up and out. Can we try that? Breathing in and then. Nice. Good. All right. So, now we're going to talk a little bit about how our voice works. We have a tube that comes in our mouth and then down our throat. That tube is going to split in two like a fork in a road. So that one road turns into two paths. So our one path for the air is actually going to branch into two. So one way is where your food, your water is going to go. You swallow, and that stuff goes down the esophagus into your stomach. The other tube is where the trachea is, and that's where the air goes to get to your lungs. So we have these gatekeepers that when we have a foreign object, like you take a bite of a sandwich or a bite of a banana, right? And you swallow, those gatekeepers close and say food goes that way. And so those gatekeepers are protecting your lungs. The vocal folds are actually those gatekeepers. Their first job is keeping you alive, keeping the breathing passageway nice and open and clear of any objects. So they're doing that job very well because we're both alive and well. So when we want to sing, though, we send the air out. We send it back up and out through our mouth, right? As the air is passing through those gatekeepers, we pull them together gently, we send air through, and we allow them to vibrate. That's how we make a speaking voice. That's how we sing, is with those vibrations. The same movements you're doing when you talk are the same ones you're going to do when you sing. The difference is that we're going to hold out and sustain, and we also might vibrate faster or slower to get different pitches. So we're going to try now allowing some vibration. So try saying hello.
Hello. What?
Yes, yeah. So you're using your vocal folds right there. You already know how to use them. So now can you try for me, like you just ate a bite of something yummy? Give me a mmm.
Okay, but it might be a little small because my voice is kind of lost.
Oh, do you have allergies or did you use your voice a lot this week?
I use my voice a lot.
Yeah, so maybe your voice is a little tired today. That's okay. We're just going over the basics right now. It's going to be all right. Is it painful when you use your voice, or does it just feel a little bit softer and a little bit hoarse?
It kind of hurts my throat.
Oh, it does. Oh, no, that's okay. That's all right. So we probably won't do as much singing today. That's okay. That's all right. Sometimes it's like that. We go, today is not my best voice day, and that's all right. So we're gonna be nice and gentle with the voice. Can we try like you're agreeing and give me a mm-hmm?
Mm-hmm.
Good. And a mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Nice. All right, let's try a satisfied sigh, like you just sank into a warm bath.
Ah.
Yeah, good. Now can we try aha?
Aha.
Nice. Can we try oh no?
Oh no.
Yeah, do you feel how we're holding out and we're also changing our pitch a little bit? So, the way the vocal folds work, when we want to do a higher pitch, we're going to vibrate faster. When we want to do a lower pitch, we're going to vibrate slower. So, when I send my air through slower, I'm going to get a slower vibration, which gives me a lower note. When I send my air through faster, I'm going to vibrate faster, which gives me a higher note. So, we're going to try something to try to feel the difference. So, can you give me like a sad little puppy dog? Can we do a
Mm-hmm.
good? And now, like a little baby owl, give me a hoo, hoo.
Ooh, ooh.
Yep. So, those are a little bit higher, right? Now, we're going to try like Santa Claus, a big booming laugh. Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, ho, ho.
That's a little bit lower, right? So up high, we're vibrating faster, and down low, we're vibrating slower to get that different pitch. We actually are also using two different muscles. So the vocal folds, when we stretch them front to back and make them longer and more narrow, you can think of them kind of like a stretchy rubber band, like two stretchy rubber bands that pull together. When we stretch them longer, they get more long and thin. That is going to have a lighter um, connection or a lighter pressure on the air that's flowing through. So that means the air can flow through faster. And that's how we get those higher pitches. And then the muscle side to side applies more pressure. And so then the air has to flow through more slowly. And that's how we get those lower pitches. So we're actually using two different muscles to control the vocal folds. And we're also then using the breath speed to make higher and lower pitches. Really nice work there. Beautiful. Can we try? Let's go low to high. So we're going to speed up the vibration. So we're going to try on whoop. We're going to go whoop.
Oh, whoop.
Yeah, good. Now we're going to go high to low on wahoo. Wahoo!
Wahoo.
Yeah, exactly. So you can feel the variation in your pitch, right? And so we're gliding faster and slower. With our speed of our breath. Very nice. Good. So, since today, too, you're feeling a little bit hoarse, let's talk a little bit about some other things that we work on in our singing. So, one thing that you probably use all the time, every day when you're talking, is your articulators. So, your lips, your teeth, your tongue, your jaw, how these things shape is going to affect our sound that comes out, right? So, if I shape E, for instance, that's more wide and spread. And if I do O, it's going to be more rounded. Yeah. So you can see that one really clearly. The tongue shapes differently, the lips shape differently, and how open or closed our jaw is, how things move in relation to the teeth. This palate, we change whether it's lifted or lowered. Can you try a big yawn for me? Give me a big yawn and feel that stretch in the palate. Try that. Can you feel that opening in the back of your mouth? Yeah. Now try like you're surprised. Give me a yeah, can you feel that lift there? Singers use that all the time. In normal life, we really only use it when we yawn, when we're surprised. Maybe if you took a bite of hot pizza and you burn the top of your mouth with that hot cheese and you go, ooh, and you yank away because it hurts. But in singing, we actually use that. We shape it a little bit differently depending on the sound we want all the time. So those articulators are something we're going to use to create different sounds in addition to how we vibrate in the vocal folds. We also have something called resonant spaces. So basically, if you think about where you feel vibrations in your body when you sing, that's going to give you a good idea of what we refer to as resonant spaces. So, can you try for me again? Give me that deep Santa Claus ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho.
Good. So you probably feel the vibrations a little bit lower in your body. A lot of the time, I'm going to refer to that side to side muscle. It's technically your thyroarytenoid muscle, but I'm going to call it your chest voice muscle because most often, not always, but most often we feel the vibrations lower in our chest area. Kind of like a warm kitty cat curled up on your chest, or you just took a sip of hot cocoa. So nice and warm and fuzzy in your chest area. What if we try, you try like a, mm-hmm. Try that.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you feel any vibrations in your nose when you do that? Try that again. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, the air is actually flowing through our nose for that. So, you might feel some vibrations in there, which is going to mean we have more of a nasal resonance then. Now, let's try again like the little baby owl sound or like your Mickey Mouse or the Pillsbury Doughboy. Woohoo!
Wahoo!
Yeah, so the vibrations maybe feel a little more vibrating more in your head somewhere. Do you feel the vibrations somewhere in your head? Where do you feel those? You want to try again? Woohoo!
Wahoo!
Yeah, where do you feel those vibrations, the sound?
I felt it like right here.
Okay, yeah, right here. Yeah, so that's why we usually refer to that muscle that pulls front to back, which is your cricothyroid muscle. I'm going to call that your head voice muscle because usually you're going to feel the vibrations more in your head. Yeah, exactly. Really good observations. So for singers, it's not like being in a dance class where you can look in the mirror and you can see the angles and you can watch other people and go, oh, I need to angle more this way, or oh, my arm isn't lifted enough, right? We can't see everything that's happening. So we're going to go a lot by sensations and what you're feeling in your body. So I love that you're already having a really good awareness of the things you're feeling, the sensations in your body with your singing. That's great. I love that. So what I'm thinking is, since your voice is a little bit tired this week, which I totally understand, sometimes my voice gets tired. Autumn is kind of a big allergy season for me, so I've been sneezing a little bit this season. So I totally understand that. What I think might be great is what if for the next couple days we have you rest your voice a little bit, drink lots of water, and then when you are feeling a little bit better, I would love if you maybe sang a little bit of out one of those songs? Like, since you said you love My Jesus and that's your favorite song, what if we had you sing a little bit of it? So maybe a chorus or a verse and a chorus and record that. You could maybe have your mom help you. You could do a voice memo on your phone, or she could do a little video of you singing it. And then you could send that to me on Lesson Face. I can take a listen to it and have a better idea of where you're at with your singing. And then I can come up with a nice plan moving forward for our lessons, because I usually like to tailor lessons to the individual student. But I feel like today, since your voice is feeling a little bit tired, I can hear that when you're talking, it's a little bit hoarse, and when you're trying to sing a little bit, I don't want to over push you, today. So does that sound like a good plan? Letting you rest a little bit, and then we dive a little bit more into singing next time. Does that sound like a good plan? Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Okay, good. Do you feel pretty comfortable singing by yourself? Like, does that scare you a little bit to try to record so that I can take a listen? Or do you feel pretty comfortable singing by yourself?
I pretty feel comfortable.
Oh, great. I love that. That's awesome. I was going to say, if you don't, you could have the person sing on the track with you, or maybe see if, like, your cousin or your dad or someone would sing along with you. But yeah, if you feel comfortable doing that, I think that's going to be a great plan. And then I can take a listen and I can say, okay, these are the things I'm hearing that are going really well and that we love. And then here are some things that I feel like we could improve on. And then I like to also work with you on a plan moving forward and have a practice plan each week. So, since your voice is a little bit tired this week, I'm thinking I'm going to give you some exercises to do that are focused a little bit more on strengthening your breathing this week, so that we're resting the vocal folds themselves, but we are strengthening your breathing muscles. Does that sound like a good plan? Yeah, awesome. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together some exercises for you. The first one that I'm going to give you is really easy. You just lie on your back and you breathe in and out. And it's pretty magical. We breathe the perfect way for singing when we lie on our back. Our body just kind of knows what to do. Gravity's helping us. We're opening up the rib cage. You can put your hands on your belly and feel that rise and fall as you breathe in and out. And you could even try singing in that position. Another thing that is another pretty easy one is just doing a little wall sit. So it's like you're sitting in a chair, but you do it against the wall. So you're going to kind of get your back and your head lined up. Nice, good, tall alignment against the wall, and then you kind of slide down and sit into the wall a little bit. You're definitely going to feel some core working and your legs working there, but that's actually a good thing. We're strengthening some of those things that help us have more power in our voice then, and then you're going to really feel that rib cage opening and expanding. You're going to feel your core working with your breath, and you can try even singing in that position as well. But I'm going to send you some different breathing exercises through Lesson Face, so your mama can help you get that message there. And then I'll even send you some links to some videos and things that you can follow along with, because that might be a little bit easier to just follow along with the videos. And then you can let me know how those exercises are going. And then hopefully in a few days, your voice feels a little more rested, and then you can record the song, okay? Sound good? Awesome. It was wonderful meeting you. So I'm curious, is your mama a big fan of fairy tales?
Mom,
Yeah,
just that one.
yeah, with your name. I was like, oh, that's so cute. Briar Rose. Yeah, so Princess Aurora from from Sleeping Beauty,
Yeah.
the
Yeah, the
original
original book,
like Hans Christian Andersen.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
always remembered that name from that book.
yeah.
And then, they only
Oh,
said it one
right.
time in that Disney movie. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
was
love
bummed
that. That's
out.
so sweet. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, that's very sweet. So maybe at some point we could learn a Sleeping Beauty song for mom. That could
Mhm.
be kind of fun. So yeah, I just wondered about that because I grew up watching, you know, the princess movies too. So
Well, and
that's
I also
awesome.
like opera music. So
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if she will like it as much,
Oh,
but
right. Yeah, well, we could always ease into that too. We can always try something like maybe an art song, or we could do something that's like a light opera song,
Mhm.
or because light opera is a little more usually comedic and a little maybe more up tempo.
Mhm.
They do have ballads and things, but it might not be as challenging because you
Right.
might also
Well,
have
the
something like
Sleeping
Gilbert and
Beauty song,
Sullivan. Yeah.
Sleeping
Oh, that
Beauty
would
song
be
in the movie.
lovely.
I always
Yeah.
liked how her voice.
Yes. Oh, that would be beautiful.
But
There
Daddy's
are a
the
lot of
singer,
lovely
not
ones.
Mom.
Yeah. Oh, there, when you mentioned that too, like there are some English operas, like there are some American operas and things that have some songs that might be pretty lovely.
Hmm.
Like,
Right.
oh, like there's one from a Minotti opera. It's there's like the little mute boy and the lady who's
Mm.
the medium, and then there's the girl. She has it's almost like a lullaby that's really pretty.
Oh,
That would be
okay.
one that I feel like might be a little more accessible, for instance.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, yeah, or yeah, I'll try to think of some that
Yeah.
might be a
Well,
little
she
more
also
accessible.
really
Yeah.
liked. Oh, sorry, I keep
Yeah,
interrupting you,
it's
but
okay. Yeah.
she really loves Mexican music.
Yeah,
So I
okay.
mean, you know.
Great. I love that. That's awesome. When I was in graduate school, I fell in love with I was working with our guitar ensemble at the school, and I fell in love with the art songs of Spain and
Mm,
Argentinian and
yeah.
Brazilian and all of these beautiful Latin rhythms and the language and the harmonic
Right.
textures. I'm a big fan of mariachi bands, and so we
Right.
definitely can look at some music that's more like Latin American music. If you
Yeah.
find some that you really love, I would
Right.
love to work on that with you. That
So
would be a lot of fun.
it's like Andre Bocelli, is that
Oh,
opera?
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
It's
definitely.
always hard to because opera, I understand opera, but I don't know
Yes.
like if those are the types of voices, those like
Mhm.
Susan, is it Susan Boyle?
Yes, yeah. So
Yeah,
I would
okay.
consider her a more classical singer as
Classical.
well.
Okay.
Yes. I would
Okay.
say some classical singers don't necessarily sing opera always. For
Okay.
instance, some people like Anna Kirkby tend to be known for other types of classical music rather than
Okay.
like full-on operas. They might focus more on oratorio or art song or maybe more sacred music. If you think of like Charlotte Church and a lot of the music
Hmm.
she did, like Panis Angelicus would be more sacred music.
Okay.
So yeah, so there are a
Okay.
lot of different types of
So that
classical
all goes
music.
into classical
Mhm.
operas.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I
I always
know a lot
thought
of
of
people say
classical
opera and
as
they
like
just think of all of
Beethoven.
it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Beethoven, he didn't compose a whole lot for singers. He did a little bit, but not a
Yeah,
whole
that's
lot.
like classical music. I always just thought of
Yeah.
that as like separate, just
Yeah. 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 We also have different time periods. So
okay.
you might fall in love with different eras. Like I'm a really big fan of the Romantic era. I love the
Mhm.
music of the Romantic era, but you also might really like Baroque music or Renaissance music or the neoclassical era or the 20th century, right? So
Yeah.
there are a lot of different styles in that overarching classical umbrella. So
Okay.
I love the idea of playing with a lot of different things, but we definitely have some good ideas there. I'm curious, do you speak Spanish?
Yes.
Oh,
No.
perfect.
She
Oh,
goes,
maybe a little bit, un poco.
a little bit.
Hey, that's okay. I only speak a little bit too. I can order food. I can ask where the bathroom is. I can
Well,
call for a taxi.
yeah, my parents didn't teach me Spanish, but
Oh.
they can speak.
Oh, yeah. Well,
But
then you can practice with your grandma
mhm,
and grandpa then.
mhm,
Perfect. You've got built-in practice buddies. I think that's part of what's so hard about it is I'm not always around it. So I love
mhm.
being with people that I can practice it with. So, well, if we pick out some music though, that's in Spanish, then Grandma and Grandpa can help you with your pronunciation and with practicing your lyrics. I love that.
What's that girl that I really like? Mexican movie.
Selena?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh.
Selena. Oh, I feel like Selena is, one of the most famous. Yes, one of the favorites for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, we could definitely look at some Selena music. Beautiful. I love that idea. Okay, great. I took a bunch of notes. Like I said before, I'm going to send you, Vanessa, a message through Lesson Face with just some ideas for homework. If you don't get to all of it, no problem. Over
Okay.
the next few days, try to rest your voice more, be really gentle, and hydrate a lot. So, lots of water, get your vitamin C, have some orange juice with breakfast and all that good stuff. Maybe some melt some honey and lemon in some warm water, drink that. It could be really soothing. Um, maybe drink some broth kind of stuff that's really nice and gentle on your throat. And then after you're starting to feel a little bit better, you can record a little bit of a song for me or the whole song if you're feeling up for it. So I can take a listen and then I'll send you my notes on where I kind of feel like we're at and what I kind of think would be a good plan moving forward. But if you ever have different ideas, Briar, you can always tell me, I really like working on this. I don't like working on this as much. I feel like this is going really well, but I want to improve on that. So I always welcome your feedback as well. Okay. Do you have anything that you can think of in particular that you go, oh, I'd really love to be able to do this? Like, you hear a singer do these powerful high notes and you go, oh, I want to be able to belt out those high notes. Or that you're like, oh, I love these beautiful lyric flowing lines in this song. Do you have anything like that that you can think of that you really enjoy about a certain singer? Or maybe like their riffs, like Mariah Carey does all these beautiful riffs. Anything like that?
Yeah, it's like this K-pop girl in like a
Yeah.
movie. What
Hmm.
Demon Hunters are.
I do. I know all the music and I know the show. It's great. I'm a fan.
So which one is it?
It's called.
Called what?
It's done.
How It's Done?
Oh, how it's done. Okay,
Or
for
what part
sure. We
did
can definitely look at that. I have a couple other students working on different songs from the show. There are a lot of fun ones, a lot of really fun
No,
ones.
thinking it's very high note.
a very high note. The
Oh,
very
yeah.
high note.
Okay, I'll make a note of that. That's a goal for us. The highest note in how it's done. Alrighty. Awesome.
Is
I
that
got that in my
something that
notes.
you, I'm sorry, I keep interrupting
Yeah,
you. I'm so sorry.
absolutely.
Um, is doing the high, obviously you haven't heard her sing, but is that something that you just have, or is that something that you learn?
Yeah,
If
really
that
good
makes
question. So there are different types of voices. And so, if somebody comes in and they're like, well, my voice is a trombone, but I really want it to be a trumpet. I can't change an instrument type, but we can always improve on skills. So every artist voices essentially work the same way. They
Mm,
just are different sizes and shapes. So if you look at your fingernail, the distance across it is about how long your vocal folds are. So
mm,
that's really not that big, right? They're very impressive. They're vibrating hundreds to
wow.
thousands of times per second to get the different pitches. So when you sing a really low note, you maybe are vibrating 400 times per second. And then when you're singing a really high note, maybe you're vibrating 1,000 times per second, right? So, um, each note has its own vibrational speed. And that's true if you play on a piano, the vibration of the piano string, or whether you're singing, right? And so the instrument itself is the size and the shape it is. What's really great is that you, Briar, are still growing. So your voice is going to grow with you. And throughout time, it's going to change a little bit. So you're going to go through different seasons with your voice. The instrument is going to change with you through life, which is pretty fun, I think. So you're always working with it like a partner. What's great though is that every singer is going to have the ability, depending on their instrument type, to sing using those two different muscles. We have different registers. So we all have what's called, remember, I talked about your chest voice muscle and your head voice muscle. So we have a certain range. You're going to have a certain range that you use that chest voice muscle. And then you're also going to have a range that you use your head voice muscle. You also, though, are going to have a certain part of your range in the middle where you can actually use both muscles and they work together as a team to support. And then at the extreme highs and lows, we have vocal fry at the very bottom, which is where we basically are stretched so far side to side that we don't get a clear tone anymore and it's kind of crackly and gruff. If you think of like a Johnny Cash kind of sound, that
Hmm.
kind of a gritty sound, he's not making a clean, clear tone necessarily. He's accessing his vocal fry. So that you can utilize at the very low, low lows. And then at the very high highs, we have what's called whistle register. And so the prevailing theory on that, we don't know for sure because the epiglottis folds over and blocks the camera and we can't see what's happening. But the prevailing theory is that we're stretched so far front to back that we're no longer vibrating all along the vocal folds. We're only vibrating right at the little end of it. So just little right there. So the whistle register is at your highest highs. And what's cool is just like any other muscle in your body, you can work on becoming more flexible, more strong with these muscles. So right now you might go, okay, my range is this note to this note, right? And you go, that's where I feel comfortable. But as we stretch and we strengthen your instrument and we work on stamina and we work on flexibility, agility, as you work to develop those muscles, you might be able to expand that range more and more. And that I think is a really common thing that I see. I've seen people in the first lesson work on breath and they practice their breathing all week and they come back and they go, wow, I can sing these notes that I couldn't reach before. And it's just
Mhm.
because they're utilizing their breath more effectively. So you never know. So think of it kind of like if you went to a dance class or you were playing a sport. At first, you might be kind of awkward and clumsy, and you might not do very well, right? The first time you swing a bat, you might miss the ball a whole bunch of times because maybe you're scooping down or you like swing overhead, right? And you're not getting it straight through and connecting. But as you work on those muscles and you get more strength and control and coordination, then you go, oh, I hit the ball, right? And you start to hit the ball more often. So think of it a little bit like that. A dancer is going to start with a tendu. They just slide their foot along the floor and then they're going to lift just a little bit off the floor and a little more and a little more. And then eventually they're kicking themselves in the face, right? So singing's a little bit like that. We have to develop those muscles. So it's not something that happens overnight. It's something that we train for, just like you'd train in the gym, just like you'd train for a sport, just like you train in a dance class, right? So it's going to be something that compounds and builds over time, and you develop these muscles. And then over time, it becomes easier and easier. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And voices too, kind of like today isn't our best voice day. They have, you know, better days and worse days too, because they're part of your body. You can't just like say, oh, my guitar, this string is loose and being funky. I need like this fretboard tightened up or whatever, and take it to the shop and they fix it, right? Our
Mhm.
body is our instrument. So we have to keep it nice and healthy and take care of it so that it can work with us, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, I think one teacher I had heard from a teacher saying like when they're little, you don't want to really make them sing a lot, but
Oh,
that seems
interesting.
kind of, I always
Okay.
wondered that because it seems the younger you
Hmm.
start, the more,
Yeah, I
I
started
think they
training pretty
kind
young
of,
myself.
okay, okay.
Um,
I was,
yeah, so
that kind of, I was kind of confused at what she meant,
yeah,
maybe
I'd be
not pushing them
curious.
because their voice is growing. Is
Sure.
that,
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, I'd be curious to discuss that with them because of what they might be specifically referring to.
oh,
Um,
okay.
there have been cases like Miley Cyrus is a really good example of someone who, when they were too young, asked too much of their voice and pushed it too far. And
Mm,
she actually, most vocal injuries, people get so alarmed about that. But if I was training for a sport and I get injured, no one's going to say, "Oh, you're a
I know,
terrible swimmer
right?
because you
Football.
know, hurt your shoulder," right? Um,
Right.
they're not going to say like I'm a bad athlete because I got an injury. Any professional singer is going to get an injury at some point in time. It's like a sprained
Hmm.
ankle. It's inevitable if you're playing, a sport like soccer, at some point you're going to get
Right.
an injury. Um, And most of the time, you don't have to have surgeries and things. Miley Cyrus, unfortunately, essentially what happened with her is she pushed her voice too far and asked too much of it. It's almost like she has an elderly person's vocal folds now. You could think of it kind of
Mm.
like having thickened or like a really big callus kind of thing
Mm.
that they can't
Mm.
really remove because the vocal folds themselves have kind of, it's almost like if they like leatherized kind of effect.
Okay.
So she's kind of like a horror story. She still can use her voice, but she can't sing the same things she could sing before. And there have been multiple times
Mm.
when people who've played Annie in touring shows or on Broadway, unfortunately, injured their voices pretty severely because of pushing their voices too far. So I'm a
Okay.
big proponent of vocal hygiene, paying attention to your vocal health, really listening to your body. Like I love today that you said, you know what, it doesn't feel very good. Yeah, it does hurt a little bit. So we said, okay, we're not going to push your voice too far today, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we just were
Right.
really gentle with it and we just did a little bit to illustrate certain points, but we didn't want to push you today. So I'm a big proponent of always making sure that the voice is healthy and the body is healthy and that we're not pushing too far. But I definitely think there is a lot of good that you can learn starting young. So I started my lessons when I was 5 years old. And I think it was really good for me. And I, joined choirs pretty early and I joined band at school pretty early and I started piano pretty early. And it's something that, I mean, we have pictures of me like in a diaper at the piano. My older
Right.
sister, I was not taking lessons quite at that point. My older sister was, but she would show me little things.
Okay.
And so I think there definitely are good things that you can be learning musically, rhythms, um, how to use your breath with your voice, um, thinking about things like your ear training, training your musical ear. So there's a lot of good that we can do. But I always think it is good to also keep in mind that, yes, you are young and you're growing. And I also, though, think that some people, maybe like their focus as a teacher and with their training and what they do, maybe they specialize in different areas, right?
Mhm.
I remember when I was in grad school in a pedagogy class, one of the other people in that class with me, her daughter at school had a choir teacher who said, "I think there's something wrong with your voice." Um, and the little girl got really upset and cried.
Mm.
And our professor used that as an illustration. She asked if that student would bring her daughter in. And it was just that she was going through puberty and her vocal folds were growing. And so her voice was really airy at the time because what can happen is maybe one vocal fold side is growing faster than the other, and they aren't lining up evenly. So there was like excess gaps and it was really airy. Air was escaping, but there wasn't anything wrong with her voice. It just was where she was in that growth process. So I
Right.
think depending on who you study with, there might be people who specialize in different areas. I
Right.
am someone who has worked a lot with kids and I love working with kids.
Okay.
And I've done a lot of pedagogy training and like anatomy work and such. I have mentors that I go to that I say like, hey, I have a student and I was wondering your insights on this.
Right.
So it's something I feel very comfortable with. If there's ever anything that I go, I've noticed that something's funky for maybe like 3 weeks or more, I'll just suggest that you go see a laryngologist who will just put a little mic. They put this little wire that has a little camera on the end, and they put it down there, and then they can just see what's going on. And they'll say, "Oh, you've got some acid reflux. Oh, it looks like bad allergies or whatever."
Oh, okay.
And they can give you more insights then into what's going on because
Okay.
obviously I have limitations.
Right.
Yeah, but
Is that
I
something
can look
that
for
like
those
a
things.
checkup? Do you do singers have like checkups?
Yeah. Yeah, I would
Because like,
I would honestly recommend if singing is something that Briar you're wanting to do and it's like a sport that you really love that you're committing to, and you end up, being in choir and taking voice lessons and singing in your talent shows and auditioning for musicals, and it's something that you end up really committing to, I would recommend getting one checkup a year with a laryngologist, just having someone that you just say, we just come in, we just check that everything looks good. I do that. And then that way too, I'm their patient. So I can always just reach out if there's anything funky and
right.
say,
Okay.
hey, can I come in? You just look at it.
Okay.
And they just see what's going on. Like one time I had a bad motor vehicle accident and I had injured my right lung, but I had a Christmas show that I was in. I was advised not to do it, and I did it anyway. And
Okay.
afterwards, I was like, my voice is so tired. I feel like my high notes are not as strong.
Right.
And I went in and he said, yeah, you pushed a little bit. And he said, you have a teensy little bit of swelling. And he was like, honestly, your vocal folds look beautiful. But I had just like a little red bump on each side, like a teeny tiny one. He was like,
Mhm.
if you just don't talk for 3 days, those will go away. You'll be fine.
Okay.
And he was like, it's
Okay. So
just
they
because you
can kind
pushed
of
too
you can
hard,
kind of gauge if like if
Yeah.
like I'm gonna ruin these if I do this
Right.
performance versus
Yeah. Yeah, he just said it was
yeah.
because I was
Okay.
operating with one lung essentially and trying to like be as big as normal. And I pushed a lot and then I just strained my voice a little bit
Okay.
essentially. And he was like, rest it a few days, go on vocal rest a few days, come back to it and you'll be fine.
All
And
right.
so that reassurance sometimes can be really nice just to have someone
Right.
look at it and tell you that, right? And that's an example of a minor vocal injury. I did it to myself,
All right.
I was told maybe let your body heal. And I said, nope, I'm doing the show. The show must go on. Right.
Right.
And then I pushed my voice a little bit farther than where it was happy to go. And I should have just said, I'm mic'd and just trusted that and sung a little softer. And I didn't. I pushed my voice a little too far. So, yeah. So I think, um, a lot of my students who are young love to sing. And so we do run into sometimes they'll overuse their voice. Like today, you said, I don't feel like I'm sick or I have allergies or anything. I just feel like I overexerted, right? I overused my voice. And so that's something we watch for too, is just that you listen to your body. So that's the thing I ask for is if you feel like your body is telling you my voice is really tired and it needs a break, that you just trust that and you say, okay, I'm going to rest my voice today. So that's the thing I think is the most important right now. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Just because we
How
get
often do you
enthusiastic and
usually
holler and
how
stuff.
often do you usually suggest lessons? Like every couple weeks?
Yeah. So I think it's up to you guys, your schedule, how much you feel like you're going to practice. Um, do you feel like for some people, for instance, they feel like having a more frequent lesson kind of keeps them more accountable. Briar, do you feel like if I give you homework that you'll be committing and practicing regularly? Like if I asked you to practice at least every other day, do you think you could do that? Yeah. Okay, awesome. And your mama's gonna hold you to that. So, so yeah. So, I think, it's completely up to you guys and your schedule and what works for you. But if you maybe want to start with every other week's lessons, did you want to start with maybe like a half hour every other week or like, because I don't know too with like this lesson, I don't know stamina wise. Sometimes people are like, oh, 45 minutes or an hour is a little bit long at this
Yeah.
point, right? So maybe we start with a half hour, and then if we feel like we need more time, we can always extend
Yeah.
that later.
Yeah, because you will probably know better, right? Once you start working
Right.
with her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If we're working together pretty often, then, Briar, if we get to the end of the lesson, you're going, I still have lots of energy and I want to keep singing, then maybe we go to the 45-minute, right? So maybe we start with that half hour every other week, and then I'll give
Yeah.
you homework assignments between, and then your mama can help keep track of that. Something that helped me when I was growing up is I actually had a little sheet and I would check mark the days. So I'd like write out the days that I was going to practice and I would try to do little check marks for myself. And then I'd be like, see, I practiced all these times. And it
Well,
felt
it's
like felt gold star.
all right. It's me that I'm I put her in singing lessons before and I was missing
Yeah.
them every time. Like
Oh,
it
right.
says like I need a text message or so. So
Oh,
I'm
right.
really trying
Yeah.
to
Hmm.
work hard on me getting
Yeah. Okay.
me getting there.
Absolutely.
Sometimes life just seems like
Right. Yeah. And
so
if you guys
crazy.
ever have things pop up or whatever, just let me know. We can always move
Yeah.
to a different time.
Yeah. So I
Um,
was like just spacing it. I didn't even know what
yeah.
like I'm just because I'm normally not like that, but I just kept
Right.
spacing them. And so I'm just like, what
Oh,
is going on? So
right.
hopefully,
Well, Briar, if we say we're gonna meet every other week on Thursdays at 4 p.m., do you feel like you can help your mama remember that?
Yeah.
You should get a reminder email when it's coming
yeah.
up. But Briar, if you could maybe help Mama remember, I know I was always really excited for my lessons. Like when I had a piano lesson or I had a voice lesson, I was excited about it. So I would be like, Mom, we gotta go. Like it's time,
All right.
like we gotta hop on. It's time for the lesson. So,
Yeah. And I was maybe
yeah.
thinking maybe like a day she didn't have school. Maybe I don't know if
Oh
you
yeah.
do,
Yeah,
right? Or
absolutely. Yeah, if like maybe a weekend. Briar, do you feel like doing it after school? Do you like that better, or do you like the idea of meeting more on a weekend?
More on like a weekend.
Yeah, that'd be better. Okay. So, do you feel like maybe like we could do like a Saturday? So, you get home on Friday and you get to hang out with the family and maybe you get to sleep in a little bit and then we meet on a Saturday or like a Sunday and then you feel like that'd be a little bit easier? Yeah. Okay, great. Awesome. So we can definitely do that. So when I send the breathing exercises, I'll also send some weekend times and then you can just let me know what works best, okay?
okay. I
So we'll try to
appreciate your
meet
time.
in
Thank you.
about 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I do teach on the weekend too. So yeah, absolutely. That works
Okay.
great. So that'll be our plan. I'm going to send you some homework. That'll give you some time to let your voice rest for a few days. And then you can start practicing and doing the breathing exercises. You can do the recording for me. And then we can plan to meet in a couple weeks. Sound good? Awesome. I
Thank you
loved
so much.
meeting you both.
Me
So was
too.
that your brother who was popping in? I kept seeing the edge of a face.
Yes. Yes.
That's so fun and
He's
cute.
struggling with the attention.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I feel like it's really hard when you're young, especially. You're like, I've got energy. I want to
hmm
play, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's okay. Well, we're going to wrap up now. Look for that message from me. I'm excited to start working more with you, Briar. It's going to be a lot of fun. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, singing is my absolute favorite thing, even more than my dogs. I love it the most of
Yay.
everything. So
That's
it's my
Briar
favorite
too.
thing to do. So I'm very excited to work with you. So look for that message from me, and I'll plan to see you in 2 weeks. Alrighty?
Okay. Nice meeting
Bye,
you.
Vanessa. Bye, Briar.